Do humans need monsters? If not, why do we have them?
A monster is either physically or mentally detestable, often an aberration in appearance and behavior. The word monster is generally associated with the concept of evil, both in thought and action. Normal-looking people who behave in reprehensible ways are also referred to as monsters.
Furthermore, every monster is a metaphor for something humans fear. We will start with the most basic source of monsters: evolution. Evolution has built different fears into our species over a span of many prehistoric millennia. Some fears are universal: the dark, heights, blood, enclosed spaces, snakes, spiders, pain, death, humiliation, and loneliness. These fears have always been with us. They are the dangers that our early ancestors faced, and their shadows still haunt our nightmares. Why do so many people dread spiders? For an explanation, one must look into our past. Homo sapiens emerged from Africa, so perhaps the answer lies in the natural pressures of the African wild. The six-eyed sand spider is a venomous arachnid which lives in western and southern Africa. It is a very large potential threat to children, and thus a fear of spiders has been worked into the fabric of our nature. One monster which is prevalent in every society is the were-human. In Russia, there are were-bears. In Africa, there are were-leopards, were-hyenas, and were-hippos. In Asia, there are were-tigers, elephants, crocodiles, snakes, and even sharks. And of course, there's the werewolf. This myth is so universal because it reflects the fear and respect for these alpha predators, and even a connection with nature, or a fear of degeneration. Similarly, the Greek minotaur is a metaphor for losing one's intelligibility and human capacities, which reflects the Athenian worship of knowledge and their fear of losing their rationality.
This is the bizarre myth of the Minotaur.
Greeks prided themselves on their rationality, yet there were many things they did not understand. Monsters and mythical beasts were used to explain the unexplainable. Greeks considered hermaphrodites and disfigured people as monsters. In their attempts to classify everything, the Greeks mislabeled many things in their domain. When the Greeks saw bones, they began to make the animal which the bones once made up. The Cyclops myth comes from a misinterpretation of an elephant skull. The Greeks believed that the large nasal cavity was the position of the singular eye, and mistook the actual eye for ear hole. Furthermore, the bones of a Protoceratops closely resemble the makeup of a Greek griffin. The Greeks had no concept of evolution or extinction. To them, everything on the earth had always and would always exist. They believed that all of their marvelous and outlandish creatures lived in India or the Far East. The trend of assuming that monsters are in another part of the world has not died yet. Thomas Jefferson believed giants existed in the unexplored West as late as the 1800s, and shows such as Monster Quest and Finding Bigfoot are testimony of the tenacity of this idea.
I've been tracking Sasquatches for 25 years.
These animals, in fact, are real.
I've seen them. They're here.
The next major shift in monster ideology came with the advent of the Bible. Biblical monsters fit into four basic categories. The first is one which is used as defense, such as the Golem of Prague, a simple monster created by a rabbi to help defend Prague. but its simple nature made it as much of a nuisance as a protector. Other monsters, such as unicorns, cockatrices, dragons, and satyrs, are due to translational errors. The translators wanted to possibly make the text more poetic by adding these creatures. Unexplainable biblical monsters include the Leviathan, Daniel's beasts, and the Behemoth. These represent chaos and augment God's power, since only He can control them. The most noteworthy monsters in the Bible are in the book of Revelations, or the book of the Apocalypse. The first beast rises from the ocean and has 7 heads, 10 horns, the feet of a bear, the mouth of a lion, and the general appearance of a leopard. The second beast comes out of the earth and has 2 horns and speaks like a dragon. Its job is to make people worship the first beast by performing false miracles and to kill non-believers. Revelations is interpreted as something which already happened in biblical times, a prophecy for the papacy as the beast, or even as events of the future. Many biblical and mythical monsters are used to test the Bible's heroes, or are seen as spawns of the devil. With this in mind, the idea of monster extermination was created.
The beast will make off with your children. He'll come after them in the night. No. We're not safe till his head is mounted on my wall. I say we kill the beast!
Throughout history, monsters have been viewed as a physical manifestation of the other.
The other tribe, the other country, the other religion, the other political party, whatever the other is, we tend to make them monsters, and we are scared to death of them.
Witches are the most prominent form of the other in recent history, but the other is represented throughout fiction.
She looks like one!
The most pressing issue of the movie business is money. For that matter, when a movie is a hit, every other producer and director wants a piece of the action. A cycle is created. First, some monster movie is a smashing hit. The idea is copied and copied and copied. Eventually, the idea dies down as another takes its place. Another monster fills the screen, but the original one resurges with some other hit. Some horror monsters don't seem to die. Monsters like Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and other repeat villains become public figures. In these cases, the audience knows that the character is pure evil, and is more interested in a high body count than having the protagonists survive.
Super Freddy! Told ya! Comic books was bad for ya!
Fiction films reflect what the people in a society fear at any given time. In the Cold War era, space became the new frontier for the American people, and the new source of terror for the horror industry. Mutated life and giant beasts tore apart movie screens and TV monitors, and were surely a product of the Cold War and fear of radiation